Hello fans, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's King Kelechuku Kenzo. Today we're going to be discussing on peptic ulcer disease. We're going to be discussing peptic ulcer disease. Now, there are three things you will learn from this video. Don't scroll down, watch this video, make sure you share it because this video is going to save life. There are three things we learn. Number one is, why is it that if you're having serious chest pain, the first thing that will ring for your mind or someone's mind is that the person is having an ulcer? I'm going to explain why chest pain is one of the primary signs or symptoms we do use to detect that someone is having an ulcer. Number two, why is it that if you're having serious chest pain, sodium bicarbonate is the first thing that the doctor would recommend for you? Number three, I'm going to be explaining the difference between the angina pain and the ulcer pain, because angina pain is also felt in the chest. You feel angina pain in the chest. I will explain these three things. Don't scroll down, watch this video and share it, and make sure you like. Now, before we start the peptic ulcer disease, we're going to be looking at the GIT. The GIT is the what? Gastrointestinal tract. Now, this GIT has 4 layers. There are 4 layers of the GIT. Number 1 layer is the mucosa layer. Mucosa layer. Number 2 layer is the submucosa. The third layer is the muscularis layer. While the fourth layer is the serosal layer. The serosal layer of the adventitia. Now, either you call this serosal layer or you call it adventitia. The difference between them is the adventitia is found in your mouth, your pharynx, and your esophagus, while the serosal layer is found start from your stomach, your small intestine, your large intestine, and your rectum. Now, we will be discussing the function of each layers of the GIT, because that is what will usher us to the reason why we do feel chest pain during peptic ulcer disease. Now, the mucosal layer is responsible for production of mucus. What is the function of the mucus? Mucus is responsible for, or it aids lubrication of substances that is going into the GIT. So the mucosal layer is responsible for production of mucus. That is number 1. It contains epithelium cells that produce mucus. Number 2, the mucosal layer has what they call lamina propria. Lamina propria. Lamina propria. The function of this lamina propria is it contains blood vessels, lymph vessels, and nerves. Blood vessels, lymph vessels, and nerves. Now, the blood vessels supply blood, the lymph vessels fight against pathogens, while the nerves give signal to the GIT. Now, after this layer, we have the submucosa. The submucosa contains a plexus of blood vessel, lymph vessel, and nerves. When we say plexus, we mean the place that 2 blood vessels come together or 2 nerves come together to channel into one direction. That is the function of this submucosa. Now, the muscularis layer, this particular one is divided into majorly 2 layers. Now, this one is divided into circular smooth layer and the longitudinal layer. In between the circular smooth layer and the longitudinal layer, there is a plexus of nerves called the abac nerves or abac plexus or myenteric plexus. So in between this circular layer and the longitudinal layer, there is a plexus. Remember we said plexus is a place where two nerves come together. There is a plexus of nerves called the myenteric plexus. Myenteric plexus or the abac plexus. This myenteric plexus and abac plexus is made up of sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves. The sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves, the sympathetic nerves supply the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nerves supplies the what? Parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system is made up of two nerves. Number one is the cranial nerve. The parasympathetic nervous system is made up of two nerves. Number one is the cranial nerves. The cranial nerve is called cranial nerves. The cranial nerve is the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the nerve number 10 because the cranial nerve, we have 12 cranial nerves. So vagus nerve is the number 10. So the parasympathetic nerves also contain what they call the sacral nerves. Are we there? So the sacral nerves is the spinal nerves. Remember, we have 31 spinal nerves. The spinal cord is divided into 5 regions: the cervical region, the thoracic region, the lumbar region, the sacral region, and one other region. So this one is made up of 5 nerves within this man here, because the sacral nerves is divided into 5. So the parasympathetic supplies, or the cranial nerves and the sacral nerves supply the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what about the sympathetic nervous system? Remember, what you are talking about is these two layers. What are the two layers? These particular two layers is what you are talking about. Now, the sympathetic nervous system is made up of two nerves. One is the thoracic nerve. Number 2 is a lumbar nerve. All these nerves are the what? Spinal nerves. We have 12 thoracic nerves and we have 5 lumbar nerves. So in between 5 and 9 thoracic nerve, there is a plexus of nerve there. Now, the signal that is coming from the stomach, we go or we branch into these thoracic nerves. Any signal that is coming from the stomach, we always branch to these thoracic nerves, and there is a plexus of nerve within here. So what the body or the brain usually detect is, if you are having stomach pain, it is assumed that is the thoracic nerve. The pain is coming from the thoracic nerve. Why? Because there is a plexus of nerve here, and those plexus of nerve or those nerve is coming from the stomach. That is one of the reasons why we do have chest pain when we are having an ulcer. So if the hydrochloric acid in the stomach has hit the mucosal layer of the stomach, you will be having chest pain. Why? Because the signal that is coming from the stomach will branch into this thoracic nerve. Okay, the second thing is, how do you know that you are feeling or you're having ulcer pain? One, there is difference between ulcer pain and vaginal pain, because vaginal pain can also be felt in the chest, and ulcer pain can also be felt in the chest.